Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Uncanny X-Men Volume 2 Omnibus. This has been a long time coming, really excited to get into it. So yeah, I'm going to be doing the same thing I did the last video where I have the overhead camera. I'm going to see if I can make it a little bit better than last time. And while I go through the pages, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, opinions, and overall just kind of a general idea of the book. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is the X-Men Omnibus. As you can see, we've got this sleeve here. Right to its side, you got that classic Marvel Omnibus edge. Uncanny. And this collects X-Men 132 through 141, Annual 4 through 5, and then finally they retitle it the Uncanny X-Men at 142, and we go through 152. We got a couple of different times as well, the Avengers Annual 10, Marvel Fanfare 1 through 4, Marvel Treasury Edition 1974, which is 26 through 27, Marvel Team Up 100, Bizarre Adventures 27, and Phoenix The Untold Story 1. So this Omni actually starts off really strong. It opens up with the Days of Future Past storyline. Or it gets to it really quick at least. And to me, it was just such an interesting story to open up into, because it really starts off quick, whereas the last Omni kind of started off slow and got better towards the end. So the art isn't really too far off, because you gotta keep in mind, this one basically continues right off where the first one ended. We get some more background on Wolverine as well, which is really starting to like him a lot more. But yeah, I guess we're actually seeing the wrap up of the Dark Phoenix saga. I forgot that ended in here. For some reason I thought it ended. I don't know if this is a recap. Got some Spider-Man in there. The way they draw space is just absolutely amazing. It's so beautiful. Yeah, like I was saying, this story started off pretty strong. I mean, not much of a big spoiler, but yeah, I mean, like, in this, Phoenix does kind of, something happens to Phoenix. Here we got Storm, the baddie. Absolute, like, we love us a strong woman, 100%. She's representing with those looks and her powers. So we get to see the X-Men kind of face off in a duel to save the Phoenix's life. Not even Phoenix, but Jean's life. And there's a lot of cool, like, otherworldly stuff. And we also actually get to see some Kree stuff and Skrulls as well, which was interesting. Some little bit of cosmic tie-ins. And then Phoenix, like, kind of breaks out and she sacrifices herself to kind of end it and save the X-Men. We got the Watcher. And so with this, Cyclops chooses to leave the X-Men. Will he come back? Well, I mean, you tell me. Has he appeared in any X-Men issues since this? I mean, yeah, anyone who's been to a comic book store could probably answer that. We get some Doctor Strange tie-ins. So, like, these are all really interesting stories, because we had the Doctor Strange tie-ins with, like, we get to see some of Nightcrawler's history and, like, story. We had, the death of Jean Grey. And also, like I said, the X-Men Days of Future Past storyline. Which I'm wondering what I'm going to get to at this point. I thought it was a lot earlier in this book. Didn't realize it'd be this many pages in before I started to see storyline. We also, so Alpha Flight crossover as well, which honestly I appreciate. I love some Canadian representation in comics. I feel like it's underutilized now. Oh yeah, Wendigo, super cool concept. It's actually a callback to a previous issue where Wolverine was originally sent to hunt down Hulk, and then they encountered the Wendigo, and we do see Wolverine's kind of somewhat unexplained new suit, which I really like this color and take on him. Really interesting to see all the X-Men face off against, like, a supernatural being. Kind of just flipping through, like, kind of pages at a time, because to go through this entire thing page by page would literally be forever. Okay, here we go. X-Men Days of Future Past. So for some backup history. Days of Future Past is basically like Kitty Pryde travels back in time telekinetically um, to her young self to warn the X-Men of something that results in the death of like everyone save for like a few people. Got Kitty Pryde, Storm. Also got oh yeah, got Magneto, who's in a wheelchair. Kind of irony at its finest, to say the least. Um, and then of course, yeah, got this classic couple here, Peter. Although honestly, if I'm being honest, reading this, love the story. I see the dynamic between Kitty and Peter. My one problem is that age gap, bro. Like this chick's hitting on him when he's 18 and she's 14. Um, which is like it's so weird every time it gets brought up because it's like, dude, like he'll be 19 when she's 15. Such a weird age gap. Like I guess in Days of Future Past, seeing it as like they're all grown up is a little bit easier to swallow, but having to deal with it where it's like where like Kitty Pryde hits on him while like hits on Colossus while he's 18, and then like Colossus like kind of like I wouldn't say he flirts back. Colossus is a very like wholesome guy. He's kind of just, oh, thank you, Kitty, I appreciate it, like basically that kind of stuff. Then also we have Kitty Pryde kind of mastering her skills a bit more and using them to fight off against a demon, which is actually a callback from the first Omnibus because they did end up battling a demon back in the day. But yeah, seeing Colossus and Kitty Pryde, aka what was her name? I feel like her name honestly is a little bit underwhelming. Like so much so that I don't even remember it. It was like Pixie or something like that. Honestly, I feel bad not remembering. It's just so far her character hasn't been too memorable, which I mean I might get hate for saying, but I feel like there's so much potential for her. Like she's literally manipulating the molecules or atoms around her so she can run on air. She can go through things and like fit between the atoms or molecules of other objects. And like to me that presents so much potential because if you can literally walk on air, you can manipulate not only like my understanding of it is that she's manipulating like the air itself and being able to like work off of its density. But if you can do that, could you not literally do that to a human being? Like literally make them as soft as air, and like you could manipulate other people's density and like fit them into like get them stuck in walls and stuff. Like I feel like there's so much power there, so much potential. And here we're seeing once again like the evolution of the art. Like it just becomes more and more detailed, which I've come to appreciate. But yeah, here's when like everyone's mentally kind of getting screwed with too. And this is a crossover with the Man Thing, which is kind of like Swamp Thing but for Marvel, for simplest answer. Oh right, and then here we have Doctor Doom crossover. Really like this one, getting to see some of Doctor Doom's character traits. Really interesting. It's kind of weird. They almost romanticized Storm with Doctor Doom. I feel like they do romanticize Storm with quite a few different characters. Like, I'm trying to think who else she's been kind of like low key hinted at being with. Like Kazar, I believe was one of them. I'm pronouncing that right because there were a lot of Kazar crossovers. Well, some other characters, which was kind of weird, but like I get it. It's a book of its time. I just feel like Storm as a character, she's she's a powerful woman. She should pick her her love interest a little bit more carefully. I mean, Doctor Doom, really? I mean, I get Kazar. He's like an honorable man, but like at the same time. But here's Cyclops when he's like still not part of the X-Men, and he gets stuck on like this island. Here's Dazzler returning as well. What was nice about this too is through these issues you actually get to see a little bit more of the separation between Homo sapien and Homo superior, which in this context, Homo superior is basically like the humans with the mutant gene, what they declare them. And so like Magneto's kind of like fighting for like that superiority and kind of like fighting to like basically say, yeah, if you're going to discriminate against us, then we're going to take over first. And here's the Avengers crossovers. Honestly, the crossovers were good in the beginning. I don't like this art. I feel like these eyes are just too massive. Like, the stories are really good, but the art throws me off. Like, look at Xavier's eyes, and, like, Kitty looks even younger. This is Kitty, by the way. This is Kitty Pryde. She looks like 12. Like, oh, and here we have Rogue as well, which I think that's why they kept this in, is because Rogue does eventually become an X-Men, which, if you think that's a spoiler, I'm honestly surprised. We've also got Mystique, who is hinted at possibly having some kind of connection to Nightcrawler because of their skin color. Quite an interesting lineup for the X-Men, to be completely honest. Yeah, I don't know. I like everything about this art except for the eyeball, to be completely honest. Like, I love the way this looks until you have to look into the character's eyeballs. Oh, and then we have that we have the swimsuit photos, or not photos, panels. Like, I feel if Magneto had more control over his abilities, he could honestly, like, manipulate even the iron, because he can manipulate like magnetic waves around things, if I'm not mistaken. It's like he usually works with like metal and stuff like that, and like that's how he's able to like kind of like completely obliterate Colossus. Could you imagine if he was able to like pinpoint the iron levels in a human being? He could literally kill someone on the spot with an iron deficiency. So yeah, there's a lot of crossover issues. Here we have like a Fantastic Four crossover. And honestly, like, these aren't bad, but it feels like a slow pace point for this omnibus. And it doesn't really get much faster. Like, I like the Fantastic Four crossover, honestly. The Avengers one was alright. And here's what I'm talking about. The love interests in Storm and, you know, all that fun stuff. And we have the Marvel Fanfare, which I enjoyed because I got to see Spider-Man. Love that. Marvel Fanfare was fun. It didn't really feel like it was an X-Men story, though. Like, it had X-Men members, but, like, you could tell they only kept this because they wanted to include what was happening with Sauron and, like, what his story was like. You also get to see when Spider-Man got mutated back into a spider. Really cool stuff. Overall, I love the art in this, too. Like, wow. Amazing. I did like these stories. They weren't what I was expecting from an X-Men Omni until, yes, the X-Men get involved. So that's why I think they kept the other ones in there. This was an interesting arc, though. I love the story. Once you get like used to going from like stuff like Days of Future Past to this, once again we see Storm kind of, you know, not really being romanticized, but this guy's basically saying like, yeah, you should like be my partner. And then Storm's like, yeah, fuck you, which was awesome. Apologies for the swearing, but man was straight up basically trying to body her. And here we have Kitty Pryde being like pulled away from her X-Men family by her parents. Oh, and this is also a part where someone takes over Storm's body, basically, or swaps consciousness with her. And it was a quite intriguing story, to be completely honest. Like, all these story arcs were good. I just feel like past, like, Marvel Fanfare, or, like, the Avengers crossover, even, the stories just kind of slowed down for a point. But once we got here, it was really interesting. This is when, I believe it was, yeah, Kitty is telling a story to Colossus's younger sister to help her fall asleep, and I like this. It was just, like, you know, it was good fun. If you're looking for something that builds the characters, this isn't really it. But it's a fun little twist on, like, some of the previous stories, and has a lot of callbacks to older stories from the X-Men. Oh, and that actually, I should have... I believe this is Hercules, interacting with Wolverine, and them kind of just becoming buddy-buddy after a battle. Some more Storm content. Storm being romanticized with the Black Panther, so, like, see what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different relationships going on here, and I feel like she should just focus on one. Like, I kind of want her to find the man of her dreams or something. And here are some, like, uncolored drawings kind of showing more of, like, Jean's sister worried about her kids becoming mutants, and like what that worry, like what the impact of that was on the relationship with Jean, and how Jean would feel offended, but then also like Jean would understand to an extent. And like, although yes, this isn't in color, it is some spectacular stuff. Like you get to see, these are all different stories of the original X-Men, kind of scattered throughout. Like you see Iceman and stuff, and I actually really enjoyed these stories, even though they weren't colored. Sometimes black and white stories can honestly be great because they focus a lot on the shading and the art style, and less on like the coloring, and it really does show in the detail. Here's an interesting story where I don't know if this is before or after. I think it's after. Nightcrawler got stuck in a universe where it's all just women trying to mate with men because men are like extinct on their planet. You know, that classic storyline. And here we have an alternate ending to the Phoenix Saga where Jean doesn't die, but instead has her powers ripped from her. And it was interesting getting to see what the impact of the story would have been had Jean not died. But truthfully, I'm happy with the ending, the original ending. I think it was better to kill her off. She was honestly kind of just being used as plot armor. So yeah, this is just some like afterwards by some of the people who worked on the stories. And we also have some backup art as well. And we get some pinups, their panels. Advertisements and some more black and white art, which I love this Wolverine. And Kitty Pryde faced the demon. And then, of course, we see some of like the X-Men classic art cover here. Which I honestly have that X-Men classic Omni. I'm just not sure if I'm going to open it. I feel like it's like an artifact that should be preserved. But the art sure is spectacular. A lot of Savage Land crossovers, which at first I didn't like, but I really warmed up to them. Love Alex Ross's art. But that is the Omnibus. Yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. I know it was a bit more surface level, kind of just looking at the stories as a whole and giving my opinions on them. But to be honest, in terms of like in-depth storytelling, like I think you should save that for actually reading. There are a lot of really good subplots that are kind of hidden beneath these stories, like the history of Nightcrawler, possible relations or like connections to Mystique, different romantic interests of Storm. Like the characters really do build on you as you get further and further into the Uncanny X-Men series. So I feel like kind of trying to compile that into one short review video would be overwhelming. But I really hope you guys did pull something away from this video. I recommend, if you can, picking up this Omni. I think right now it's out of print, but I believe there is a reprint coming up in 2022. Might be wrong in that. Go ahead and search that up if you need. But yeah, I'll leave a link to where this Omni usually gets sold, like on Amazon, but currently it's out of print, so I'm not sure if they're even selling any copies. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like. If you're not subscribed already, you should, because I upload this kind of content all the time. Blackest Night Omnibus is about 1,000 pages out of 1,600 pages done, so I've got 600 pages left, and then I can, kind of come up with a general gist for the book and do the review. So that will be coming out, as long as I stay on schedule, next Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe and healthy.